After an electric 2017-2018 season, the Tiger Swimming and Diving program looks ahead to the fall of 2018 for another exciting season. Here's the men's swim and dive 2018-2019 outlook. First up is the breaststroke events. The departure of Chris Downing is definitely a factor here, but the breaststroke group can more than make up for it. Darren T returns to the pool after placing top 16 in both the 100 and the 200 last year, and will look to improve drastically this year after a back injury left him out of the water for a month. Judson Balding picked up the 100 after swimming distance freestyle last year and will look to make the top 8 after barely missing out in 9th last year. Also look for Matt Falcone and David Arack to make a run for the conference team this year after both missed out in 2018. They each improved tremendously over the past year, with Falcone going from a 58 in the 100 and a 209 in the 200 to 57 and 205 respectively, and Rack going from a 58 and 208 to a 57 and 206. Both sets of times for the men would have scored at last season's conference. The group also brings in some pretty significant newcomers, the most impactful looking to be Kevin Gu, who boasted 200 best of 200. If he can match that time, he will certainly be a top 8 scorer. Brendan Meager comes in with bests of 57 and 204 respectively. He'll look to challenge Falcone and Rack for a spot on the conference team. Now we move on to backstroke. The top 200 scorer Garrett Chin will graduate this May, but Michael Choate was a previous top 8 scorer in the event in 2016 and 2017. He missed the top 8 after battling strep throat during the 2018 conference and will look to match his previous ranks. There will also be a tremendous amount of depth in this backstroke group, as the incoming group has 3 primary backstrokers. 2 of them boast bests of 51 and 151 in the 100 and 200, Tom Scrivenich and Jack Kerrigan. Both of them would have placed in the top 16 in both events in 2018. Hunter Trambaugh will add more depth to the group with bests of 53 and 155 respectively. Kevin Gu and Alan Hakiyawa can keep up with the group in backstroke, but look for them to be utilized in other events instead. Next up is butterfly. The only real loss in this stroke is Quinn Smith, who was top 8 in the 100 for each of the past 2 years. Look for next year's sophomore class to make waves in the 200 again, with Zach Dean, Eric Ryan, Stuart Vickery, and Paulo Casas all returning. Jake Orozco is also a returning scorer in the 100. Look for Vickery to possibly challenge for a top 8 finish, as he battled sickness throughout the conference meet. Paulo Casas will also look to move up as he finished just outside the top 16 in the 200 this year. Now on to the individual medley events. This group is going to take the hardest hit, as Garrett Chin was a top 8 finisher in both the 200 and 400 for all 4 years of his career. Judson Balding is the only returning scorer in the 200, but he'll look to move up from his 15th place position this year. The 400 is far more stacked, with Zach Dean, Eric Ryan, Alex Ewart, and Daniel Bradford all being returning scorers in the event. Ben Brewer and Kevin Gu should have an immediate impact in this group, as each boast best times that would have scored in the top 16 in 2018. Ben Brewer should be interesting to watch, as the incoming freshman improved his times a lot over his senior season. Next up is freestyle. The distance crew in this stroke is loaded, as they return 4 scorers in the 500 as well as 3 scorers in the mile. Alan Hakiyawa should be a key player in this group, with 500 and mile times that would have scored in the top 16 this year. Moving on to the sprint side of freestyle, this group will also take a bit of a blow, as Quinn Smith was a top competitor, scoring in both the 50 and 100 freestyles. Matt Traub will be the only remaining scorer in the 50, while Trevor Winans and Judson Balding return for the 100. Winans and Tommy Haggerty also return as scorers for the 200. Adam Ringerhow will be an immediate impact freshman for this group, as his best 200 freestyle is already the second fastest on the team. He also comes in with faster times than school record holder Winans posted in his senior season, so that record may again be in danger. Look for Christian Soderberg, Steven Johnson, Mannix Burns, Alex Okubishin, and Tommy Wedgda to make a move for the conference team, with all 4 showing significant improvement despite being left off the team in 2018. Next comes diving. This group will be the least affected, as Cameron Schofstall is the only diver and returning scorer, finishing in the top 8 in both 1 meter and 3 meter in 2018. There could be 2 potential divers that join him for the fall season, and if they do, it would bring some much needed scoring potential on this side of the spectrum. BU will look to rebound from its 4th place finish at this year's conference meet, and will certainly have the depth to challenge 3rd place finishers Bucknell for a spot in the top 3. This has been the 2018-2019 preview. Good luck, Terriers.